All right. Sorry about that. I had to take care of something there. So we were on Obama and how he's an illegitimate president. It's the biggest fraud that's ever been perpetrated on the United States of America. And there will be ramifications for that as well. And I could go into hours and hours on that, but there's lots of already good videos out there. It used to be if you talked about a one world government, people would call you a nut, but now it's so out in the open that nobody calls you a nut anymore. They just say, well, it's a good thing. We need a one world government. But, all of these topics that I talk about, it used to be people thought you were a nut, but now they're just happening and they're coming right out in the open. And so people can't call you a nut anymore. It's just like chemtrails. People call you a nut for saying that they're spraying in the sky, barium and strontium and aluminum. But eventually they'll get to the point where, yeah, we're doing it and it's good for you, and you guys weren't really nuts after all. So go ahead and ridicule. Go ahead and say, we're crazy. You can say that all you want to, but the truth will be made known, and justice will come to the wicked. It will happen. So one world government is coming, and the New World Order is pushing for that. And for people that see it, we know that it's coming, and the Bible prophesies it, and it prophesies a one world currency, and it talks about the mark of the beast. And for you people that don't know your Bible, you need to understand that you need to refuse the mark of the beast no matter what, even if it's to the point of your death. I don't know if it's going to be the RFID chip or what. If you had to ask me right now, my best guess is it's going to be an RFID chip. But you need to refuse an RFID chip, even to the point of death. And it's just like when they tell a little kid, when someone tries to, a pedophile tries to get you in a car, don't get in that car no matter what. You scream and you holler and you bite and you do whatever you have to do, but don't get in that freaking car. It's the same thing with the mark of the beast. Do not accept the mark of the beast no matter what. I don't know how else to say it except, like that. Another thing standing between us and a one world government is the United States Constitution. So they're going to have to dismiss the United States Constitution as much as possible. I think Whoopi Goldberg on The View liked to, diss and make fun of and mock the United States Constitution as saying that it supported slavery or something to that effect. She's the most ungrateful woman I've ever seen in my life when I heard her diss and mock the United States Constitution. For her to become successful in America, and for her to become successful financially and successful as an actor and a comedian, and to receive the riches of America, and then to mock the United States Constitution, disgusted me to my core. And so I'm no fan of Whoopi Goldberg. So we need to preserve the United States Constitution, and that includes the First and the Second Amendment, and that's the right to bear firearms, and the right to have freedom of speech, and freedom of religion, and freedom of assembly, and illegal search and seizure. And we need to know our Constitution, and we need to rise up and to protect it and to speak out for it. Currency collapse is the next topic. So that, if you had to ask me what other than a false flag attack, which they can do at any time, it's weird all these animals are dying. What do I see on the horizon that is most likely to occur in the near term? My best guess is we're looking at a currency collapse very soon. Probably will happen in Europe first, and then it will happen in America. And that will happen when the world reserve currency moves away from the United States dollar. And other countries are already talking about doing that. And that means that we can no longer just print dollars to get what we want in America. And it's a very scary thing. And if you're a Christian, I would ask that you just trust in the Lord. You should use the common sense that the good Lord has given you. And, put a little food aside. If you have a little extra, wouldn't hurt to invest in gold and silver, and have a water supply. And the most important thing is to trust in the Lord, but also to use the common sense that the good Lord has given you as well. Let me say this as well. There are those that will say that the fruits of society should be given to those with the most need. So if you have fruits of society, we should give it to those that need it the most. But that's not what the Bible teaches, and that's not what you do for a productive society. And now you may not like to hear that, and it may be shocking, because mainly, the majority of people will say, if you have the fruits of society, let's give it to those who need most. If you do that, if you give the fruits of society to those who need it the most, what you end up doing is you train people to whine and complain. All of a sudden, everybody has back problems. All of a sudden, everybody has a mother with diabetes. All of a sudden, everybody has children who need braces. And so as people come into the public square, they become professional whiners and professional complainers. You give the fruits of society, and you reward the producers and achievers. You reward those who work the hardest, who produce the most, and who achieve the most. And that's how you have a productive and prosperous society, along with seek ye first the kingdom of God and adhering to biblical principles. And that's exactly what the parable of the 10 talents, the 5 talents, and the 1 talents taught us as well. But, I think the black community specifically has been decimated because they have been trained by the government to be dependent on government. And the black leaders in the black community did not stand up and say that we need to, become independent and hardworking and get off of the government tit. And what exactly has decimated the black community is about to decimate the entire American community. And, this things like zeitgeist and these communistic ideas that, we're going to pass out to everybody equally, and we're going to give to those who need the most, that is going to be a destruction for the society in general. Another example, Ayn Rand talked about that in Atlas Shrugged. She talked about it in a lot of her books as well. Capitalism, the Unknown Ideal. But you cannot give the fruits of society to those who need it the most. It simply will train everybody to become professional whiners. The other side of the coin is, people will say, well, Rudy, you're an idiot. Capitalism has failed us. And I would argue that capitalism didn't fail us. Corruption crept into the system, and corruption. We have rich people who are corrupt. We have a fiat money system. We don't have sound money anymore. And no matter what the ism is, whether it's capitalism, socialism, fascism, communism, Nazism, whatever the ism is, zeitgeistism, that all of those isms will fail when you allow corruption to creep in. And the best system for a prosperous society and a godly society is laissez-faire capitalism, where there's 3 functions for government, and that's a judicial system, a police force, a local police force, and a national defense, the military. So, and that, using the biblical and ethical system that America was founded on, and you would have one of the most prosperous societies in the world, like America was. We were falling from it very, very fast, but that's why America was great, was because we had biblical and ethical and morals. We were built on a laissez-faire capitalistic system. We had sound money. And we initially rejected these fiat money systems and these bankers that have destroyed America and are destroying the entire world. And if we don't get back to our basics, we will be lost. I don't know whether it's too late or not. God can do anything. But if God himself doesn't intervene, America will be lost. There's no doubt in my mind about that. But let's move on. All right. I can't believe how much time this is taking. Healthcare government takeover. You see, a lot of people believe that we should have free healthcare. Matter of fact, that witch, Nancy Pelosi, said, well, you can just quit your job, all you musicians and aspiring artists, because we're going to give you free healthcare, and just go quit your job and pursue your dream of being an artist or a musician. How freaking stupid. That shows you her mentality, where she's coming from. And she's an absolute wicked witch of the West. I mean, obviously doesn't have any common sense. She's been terrible for America, and her thought processes and how she thinks that America should be run has been just extremely, extremely negative. And so I can't wait for her to get out of our government, and don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you when she leaves the Speaker of the House role. But you know, I don't know what else to say about that. But she's got to go. And that, you know, as far as healthcare and free government healthcare, nothing is free. Everything always has a cost, and you have to ask yourself, at whose cost? The government will say, well, we're going to give everybody free healthcare. Well, then you have to ask at the end of that, at whose cost? Who's paying? Because somebody will pay. Whether they print money out of nothing and devalue a dollar even more, which the dollar's dead, there's no way they can save the dollar. I think every man, woman, and child in America owes over $43,000. There ain't no way we're going to pay all that back. It ain't going to happen. And so the dollar is dead. They will move to a new currency, and it's just a matter of time. But also in healthcare, they're going to treat you like an economic unit instead of a individual. And they don't want to cure you. They want to get you hooked on big pharmaceutical drugs in order to suck as much money out of you as they possibly can before before you die. So let's move on. The swine flu. What's up with the swine flu? Remember that when that was a big thing and they were closing schools? They closed the school in Fort Worth around here because of the swine flu and all this big danger. That was a test. That was a false flag event by our government. And they're going to have more false flag events. But they want to see how much propaganda they can put upon the people and see how they react. It's called test cases. Excuse me. So be aware of false flag events. Look up the phrase false flag and educate yourself on what a false flag is. The next item is chemtrails. And look up the video on YouTube. What in the world are they spraying? They are spraying us. They are trying to manipulate the weather. They're trying to manipulate the atmosphere, and they're trying to, either in the name of global warming, or they're just trying to spray humankind to control the population. But as crazy as that sounds, and as crazy as you may think I am for saying that, they are doing it. And if you can't see it just by looking up in the skies, then God help you. I mean, it is extremely obvious to me and anybody who has a mind and eyes to see and ears to hear. RFID chips, I've talked about that a little bit already, but they're trying to condition us to receive RFID chips. Do not accept an RFID chip, no matter what. The apathy of the American people will be the death and destruction. People are hooked on these video games. They're hooked on these television programs. They don't inject themselves into the real life anymore. And you can't even discuss things with anybody because they got to get home, or they're talking on they're texting somebody, or they're talking on the phone, or they're got to get home and watch their Dancing with the Stars, or they got to watch Paris Hilton or Lady Gaga or whatever. People, I'm telling you, they're too apathetic, and there will be a price that's paid for that. Abortion and eugenics. You need to watch a video called Moffat 21. The black community has been specifically decimated with abortion, and I can't believe that the American people are putting up with that. I mean, the killing of unborn children, and Obama even signed legislation that if a baby is born and through a failed abortion attempt, that he wants to go ahead and kill that baby too, to let it die. And that is how these people, Margaret Sanger with Planned Parenthood is a racist. She's she started Planned Parenthood to control the black population, and abortion is just a huge sin. It's the taking of a human life, and there will be a price to be paid. God is not happy with that. I'm coming up on 15 minutes. Let me stop and restart so I can finish the rest of these topics. I want to document where I stand on all of these different topics so that it's very clear. God bless you, and I'll start the next part.